All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to This Week in Base Hit. I am your host, Zubaz. I am joined, as almost always, with Citizen Clone. Clone, how's your week?
Going all right. How you doing?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. For the sixth week in a row, I'm in a World Series during this show. This week, it is in one of the first, maybe the first public 8-team league that was ever unleashed on Base Hit, Xi Omicron Alpha. It was a test league that we turned into a public league, if you remember. I am in the World Series there against my man Moon Code, who I believe is in Israel.
Who won a baseball
He
during
won a
the
baseball during,
yeah, yeah.
yes, yeah. Moon Code is who I'm up against. So shout out to Moon Code. I hope you're safe, happy, and healthy where you are. Hopefully you have a chance to listen to this since I'm
And
shouting you out.
hopefully you lose in the World Series is the last thing
And
he's
I'm
gonna say.
down 2-1. But yes, I am hoping to beat him and ruin his week. So yeah, I'm doing my best.
If I
Um,
looked at if everything was on anonymized, whatever, and if I looked at the two teams, would it be clear to me which team is your team? Probably.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Based on how I built it, you'd know my team.
Is there any league? I was just thinking about it. Is there any league that if I looked at your team, I would be surprised?
Not probably not anymore. Like some of my lower activity leagues I would use as test leagues and I'd mess around. But I've gotten all of them to the point where you can really I'm I build all my teams pretty much the same. I'm a sucker for slugging. I'm a sucker for a high DIBA guy at leadoff all the time. Like, and usually DI is higher. Um, I'm a sucker for control. Like, I'm one of the few people that thinks control pitching is valuable as long as their second highest attribute is finesse. So you see a lot of those type of guys on my teams. Um,
Hmm.
uh,
What
and
was the
I
last what was the last change to your template? Can you think?
uh, probably getting away from high finesse guys because the flaw in high finesse guys, like finesse, in my opinion, is the best attribute overall. Some people say it's psi, but I don't totally know how to build my defense with specialty as much as other people do. But with finesse, like that is the strongest, in my opinion, most impactful for like if you could have like a 99
Yeah.
attribute anywhere, you'd always put it in finesse.
And that's
The
why you stopped getting it?
Well, I stopped getting it because I've started to find value in lower range shortstops with bigger bats. And like if I build a team with
Hmm.
higher control pitchers with finesse being the second biggest,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can go a little bit lighter as long as I can get a big bat at shortstop because I found like the consistency of getting through your entire lineup can be more powerful than getting those outs. And I think a lot of people are seeing that now, especially because it's been so overdone that the competitiveness to get a high range shortstop is tougher than getting four high control finesse pitchers. And so like I've started to swing the other way. And that honestly, 6 weeks in a row, the reason I'm in the World Series is because of those builds.
Yeah. I mean, I was just wondering about, yeah, no, there's stuff that wins everywhere. You always
Yep.
have this, yeah.
And
I
and and doing something different when everybody's doing something the same, just like in investment markets and anything else,
Yep.
like being willing to go a little bit against the grain, usually there's more fertile fields
I
to
think
plow. Yeah.
I experiment too much. But I don't know, I won a bunch of stuff back in the day.
You won all the
So
stuff back in the day.
so then now I feel like I'm playing around a bunch and I don't know, it's
What's the thing you're seeing right
mixed
now?
results. Well, I'm still trying to figure out I haven't figured out how to work with the tight hard cap, and I would like to do that. I'm really stuck trying to figure out what direction to go in terms of old and young. I mean, I always think that there's value in old guys,
Yeah.
that after a certain age, everybody starts writing them off.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but they're expensive too, so it's hard to figure out.
You know, the thing that you've always been the best at is getting the most out of low end pitchers as starters.
Well,
You're able to do something that I can't figure out.
that's what I'm getting away from, which I'm not happy about. But it's because of the salary cap. Because I
Mm,
always really liked, yeah, I always thought there was a ton, because people always leave them on the board, and
yep.
I always thought there was value there. But now, when I don't have the money to fill out a legit bullpen, that lack of innings is starting to feel like a bigger deal. So I have started to pay more attention to the pitcher endurance.
So you're
So we'll
saying
see.
hard caps have really changed that for you.
Yeah, I mean that's just,
Yeah.
well, I don't know how it's gonna pan out. I do change my strategy over time, but it happens in well, you were asking me like what's my strategy in our draft that's going on in the new league, and I can't exactly tell you, but I was trying to find people that could chew up innings,
Yep.
and also trying to find some value on older guys that were being left on the board.
I have a hot take when it comes to the bullpen. Uh, because of a mistake I was making. I was seeing all this value. There's always like in free agency, there's the guy that's like 84 finesse, and that's his only rating. And thinking, okay, that's a great bullpen arm because I can get him for cheap. I can throw him in his setup two or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
and he'll just. But those guys always end up being trash if they don't have specialty and they have low control. But the specialty only guys, the opposite, they're actually very useful bullpen guys. So like I've definitely switched that, even though I still to this day, and I literally own the game, I still don't know what specialty is. I don't know what it means. I don't know what, like, I understand finesse, control, power, but specialty is still a bit anomalous to me. Um, but I do know that they're pretty good bullpen guys.
Yeah, I've had the same experience, and I also would say I'm not exactly sure what goes on with them. I know that the fact that it doesn't degrade during the game, you can get more out of the pitchers.
Yes.
Um,
Actually, I bet a lot of people don't know that. You're probably breaking some news for some people.
that
It
specialty, yeah. In
doesn't
case
does
you don't know,
yeah.
all the other ratings, once the pitcher gets below 50%, start to effectively decrease, except for specialty. So that's why you can get some more innings out of a guy with specialty than other guys.
Since we're breaking hot tips, I'm going to break another one that has been around for a long time, and I think even experienced users stopped using a while ago. Is there's a little tip on how your pitcher will pitch when fatigued based on the four pitches listed.
Is there? Because I
Yeah.
I have never. All right.
Well, because you know why there is because you can see with those specialty only guys, usually they'll be knuckleballers, and knuckleballers don't fatigue the same way in real life. And I think that's the idea behind specialty is like you'll see
Uh, yeah.
knuckleballers be able to maintain command throughout the entire game. But so like and like obviously if you got a 99 power guy, his first pitch is almost always going to be a fastball. But if you have a guy that's like 70s across the board, if it's still fastball, I see those guys underperform all the time. But if their first pitch is curveball, it's like, oh no, no, they'll outperform even if all of their ratings are 70s.
Hmm.
Now, this is totally anecdotal.
Yeah,
People
yeah, yeah.
should actually comment in the comments if they think what I'm saying is BS. But what I've
We're
seen,
we're not the number crunchers that some of these
I
guys
am
are.
not a
So
number cruncher. All of my is just from 20 years of playing the game and looking at these guys. But if you see 70s across the board, you'll see a different pitch mix for each one of those guys. And in my experience, the guys that have a off-speed pitch first perform better than somebody that doesn't. I'm really blowing some doors now because I don't think anybody's ever talked about that. anybody. I've never even talked about it on the side with anybody.
I've asked people about what they get out of pitches, but I ask people that keep their stuff close to the vest. So
Yep. And remember Super Mario's famous garbage pitch? Like
yeah,
the famous garbage pitch that's on there. That's never a good sign, just to be clear.
the reason I was asking about being able to tell your team, yeah, because there are times in the past that I felt like I could predict. I'm not as tuned in right now. I could predict who people were gonna draft.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Which a league,
Actually,
any league that can, that's part of what, I mean, I'm frustrated with the hard cap because I'm not winning and I haven't figured it out. But the fact that it's making me try to play different is good. And I think, yeah,
yeah.
it's a better, any league rules that can make you not be using the exact same template over and over again.
My same template that gets broken with the hard cap that's frustrating is I have a very specific draft strategy that I can't use in hard caps that always worked for me in soft caps. And it's mostly like you're just drafting best available, where you
Yeah.
clearly can't do that in hard caps. You've got to do position by position because the trade market isn't as easy, or at least it isn't for me.
Um,
I don't know.
I don't know if I should lead up. We've got somebody pinged me the other day. We've got another game, another format contest in the works. And but it was making me think about it because it's a salary cap game,
Hmm.
kind of like daily fantasy. And I'll leave it at that, except for the fact that I think if we get that right, it could be interesting because we can use different salary models than the game itself. So the fact that we know that everybody loves those shortstops, you can, which is how daily fantasy sites do it too, right? If you
Yep.
if you know who's going to be the most popular, then make people pay for them.
Yep.
So I think there could be some interesting stuff there. Um,
Yeah. I think this is what we're talking about today is just making me think about like something we mentioned yesterday or last time is like we were talking about the teaching your son baseball and how it's like you can get people if you can get people over the hurdle, they're in. And just to expand on that with what we're talking about today, also it's like the learning how to start base hit is getting easier and easier, but there is more depth to the game than people realize. And when we're talking about things like you know game strategy, and we're talking about like little cues about like age and salary or pitch selection or whatever, like even experienced players aren't really thinking about that all the time. And I think that you can get better and better the more that you can cue in on some of those things. And I think that's the cool part of the game. That's what I get into. And we were talking about it earlier today too, is like even when we're in development meetings, I get so lost in like the actual players and the game that I love the game. It's cool.
we've got we do have a couple guys now that are the number crunchers or are the people that understand the game better than us. And I
Just play
feel I feel funny when we do have those conversations because yeah, I have the gut feelings, but yeah, I
it.
don't you don't believe me, but I don't have these numbers worked out in my head.
I with you, I always believed that like you knew some magic that nobody else knew, but I've come to learn that you just have better intuition than most humans.
There you go. There you go.
There you go. That's the only
I did
compliment I'm
like
giving you today. Otherwise, you suck. I hope you lose.
no, there's also the just cheating off everybody else's. You talked about
That's the best
following
way to
my
learn.
my thing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
stole stuff from Jelly. I stole stuff from other people. Uh,
Stole stuff
at
from Pimp. I've stole stuff from Pimp in like 3 different leagues.
at some point, yeah, if the thing is created well, then the market goes over, and then there's value to be had somewhere else. Um,
Yep. When the market heats up, go the opposite way. That's
that's
another
supposed to
thing
be it.
that I've done the opposite of most people is like there's been like this like love affair with big parks, and I just don't get it. I'm back to minimalizing my park and building around a weak outfield defense, a strong infield, and good control pitchers that pitch ground balls and
I wouldn't
sluggers.
mind getting
Bang,
back. I wouldn't mind getting back to that at some point, but
just slugging the ball.
I do like the speed. Um, and
I
that
don't like
was
speed. Speed makes me mad. There's nothing worse on game view than playing a team built that way, and everything is a triple, or they get on base and then they steal, and then like every single is a try it. It's torture watching that on game view, unless you have the team, and then it's just the
that's why I do
greatest
it.
thing in the world. It is so much fun watching that team when you're taking all those extra bases.
I will say, and I think we're out of time. No matter what I've thought about stadiums, and I look back, like I think overall, I have a worse record over all the years. I have a worse record at home than away. When I
Oh,
look
really?
back, so whatever ideas I have, I might be totally fooling myself. So,
Yeah, that's frustrating too, is having a worse home record and your team feels like it's totally built for it, and you're like,
yep.
I know nothing. And actually, we can leave it right there because that's ultimately, no matter how smart we all talk, at the end of the day, we all know nothing. Oh yeah, since I'm not going to show you my Willie McGee bobblehead to go out, I'm going to show you my Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle bobblehead,
Yeah, that's a good one.
and he bobbles his head on the way in. The reason I'm covering him up is because he has a broken leg because he got dropped, and here's his leg.
Oh,
But
Jesus.
it's a historic bobblehead. It came out. I was going to say in 1942, but I I think it was actually from like 2006. But it's a
All
cool
right, man.
bobblehead. All right, that's it, everybody. Hope you got something out of the podcast. If you didn't, well, then you know everything. I'll see you next time.